Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be taking you guys with me as I teach Leroy how to line up to the mounting block. So the idea is that I will go to the mounting block, put my hand up, and Leroy will come even from farther away and line himself up to the mounting block. And so I started teaching him this yesterday, and the reason is just because it's been really hot, so I don't want to ride him, but I want to do something that's kind of like enrichment, and it's working his mind, and he definitely is starting to get the concept. Also, I did a full off of Leroy a couple days ago for the second time, and so it's just good to kind of rework on like the bonding and the groundwork. But yeah, so I'm going to talk to you guys when I get to the barn. I'm gonna of course groom him, and then we're going to start working on it. Alright, we got to the barn and now we're cleaning Leroy before we do our session. Okay, we're in the arena, and I put his bitless bridle on to kind of get like the feel. And now we're gonna start trying. Hi. Okay, starting off our session, I made sure Leroy was yielding his hindquarters both directions using the lunge whip.
Good boy.
And he was doing that. So then we moved on to me getting onto the mounting block and using the lunge whip to have him move over on top of him. So the session started off how day one started. Day one was Leroy moving away from the pressure, and when we got him to move in, we called it quits. Today, I was asking for a little bit more. So my mom started by being the one to tap the whip, which he was yielding to with me. And we started with that, and then adding clucking noises and having me hold him so he kind of gets the idea and starts to associate the two. So after we worked on that, then I was holding the lunge whip above him, and my mom was helping kind of push his hindquarters over. And he was getting treats for this to positive reinforcement, and we slowly worked towards more pressure and release and less treats, which you guys will see later on in our session. But I'm going to let you guys watch as we work through this issue.
Nope. Nope. Good boy. Nice. That was very nice. Good boy.
So something I want to point out here in this clip is how you can see when I start to lift the whip up, Leroy automatically starts to move away from the pressure. And I'm not really sure why he does this, but I'm having the thought that it has something to do with his past trauma and abuse and how they may have trained him.
Good boy.
But you can see really in that moment how his first instinct is to move away, and he has to like override it to move over. So as you can see now, he is starting to move into the pressure. And I tap him with the lunge whip, and then when he moves over, I immediately take that pressure off. So pressure and release with a couple of treats occasionally. And this is a process that did not take super long, but I would say overall the session was a little over 25 minutes. And it definitely is helpful to have another person to kind of help push your horse over. And I definitely think Leroy is really smart and was definitely catching on super quickly, which was amazing to see. And as you can see, he's really starting to get the concept. He's licking and chewing periodically, and that's a really good sign that they're thinking. So I would often take a couple minute breaks in between as well, just so Leroy could process, and that seemed to also be really helpful for him.
Good boy. Good boy. Nice job. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
So since he was doing so good moving into the pressure and starting to stand at the mounting block after I yielded his hindquarters over, I moved to what I would say is step 3, which is having him line up and then getting on, going for, just a little walk around and then getting off. So that way he can start to associate the two together, and you can tell that he definitely did. If you watch from the beginning to the end of the session, you can definitely see how Leroy starts really thinking, and his mind is working. He might not be doing a lot of physical work, but his mind is definitely working and thinking through what I'm asking him and how to respond to that. And I'm just so proud of how he was and how smart he is, how quickly he catches on, and just that we're able to have such a good bond and trust that we can try out and do these new things.
Good boy. Good boy.
So that's like the next step. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm learning it pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright guys, so as you guys saw, Leroy did an amazing job, and we've made a lot of progress on working on getting him to line up to the mounting block. I'm so incredibly proud of him, and he's just such a smart horse. He learns so quickly, and the fact that this is only session 2 and he has really started to move into the pressure almost instantly, and you could tell that he was thinking, he was licking and chewing. And something that I want to talk about is that he is a rescue, as you may know, and something I've noticed always is that he really tends to move into pressure. So most horses, when you're training them, you'd use pressure and release, as you guys saw, and I talked about. I was using pressure and release as we started to gradually go off of giving him treats. His first instinct has always been to move into the pressure, and that's very counterproductive, because most training methods don't involve anything to do with horses moving into pressure. If anything, that's frowned upon. So he's always done that, and I've always kind of worked around it. Under saddle, he's really lazy, and I think a lot of that has become because when I squeeze with my legs, he moves into that pressure rather than moving out and moving forward. Even in the dressage clinic, when I was working with both of them, they both were telling me to use my leg and then release it. So again, pressure and release. So he's kind of started to associate those things together. But I think one of the big issues is, however he was trained, clearly was not very good. And he was also, we know he was abused. We know he has rope scars. By doing research, I found that a lot of horses that have been tied will move into pressure. It's kind of like a flight mode that they have because they have fight or flight because they're prey animals. And so that's kind of where that can come from, as well as just not being treated right. Again, they're prey animals. So when they move into pressure, that's bracing to fight. That's bracing against whatever could potentially have been hurting them. So they kind of get that idea from just, their experiences. And since I know he was abused, I am almost guaranteeing that and I know he was tied up, he still has rope scars, I almost guarantee that he has learned it from trying to fight that pressure and relieve it. Who knows how he was actually trained, if he knew pressure and release, but I think stuff like this is really helping him kind of work through that and know that pressure and release is good, moving into pressure is not good. And so we're kind of working through that now, and I think these types of things are really going to help him with that. So I'm really happy, and I think it definitely will make a difference. But yeah, overall, Leroy did so good. He really was catching on. I'm really proud of him, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Who knows how